response, I will be addressing how texts explore the complex individual and collective human experience of fear and the conflicting qualities and emotions that result, allowing for an insight into the paradoxes of human behavior. The novel Past the Shallows by Fievel Parrott and the novel Lord of the Flies by William Golding both use the natural world to simultaneously represent fear and solace. However, they explore the differing effects of fear on relationships. Shallows by Fievel Parrott uses a setting in the motif of the ocean to represent fear in the eyes of Harry and Miles, and examines the qualities and emotions of codependency and escapism that can be developed as a result of the collective human experience of fear, exploring these through the lens of brotherhood and escapism in nature. Past the Shallows centers around Miles and Harry, two children who are experiencing the actions of their unpredictable, abusive father and the loss of their mother. The fact that nature represents both a source of fear that ebbs and flows parallel to the moods of the boy's father, as well as a form of escapism for the brothers in the novel, represents the paradoxical nature of family in that it can simultaneously be a source of the collective human experience of fear, but also comfort. To quote, "Miles knew the water, he could feel it and he knew not to trust it," shows how the water, a metaphor for dad, causes Miles to experience uncertainty and fear. As a result, Miles develops the qualities of independence and vigilance around the ocean and around his father. Paradoxically, Miles also finds solace in nature, shown through the metaphor, "He lived for this, for these moments when everything stops except your heart beating and time bends and ripples," which describes time altering to reveal how surfing and the ocean provide Miles a form of escapism from the fear and stress he experiences on a daily basis, in other words, his individual experience of fear. This dual experience of nature also highlights the other major quality developed by their brothers as a result of their shared human experience of fear, codependency. Parrott uses repetition and metaphor in the quote, "Harry thought that if Miles got lost, if Miles never came home, Harry's insides would go wrong and they might never come right again. If Miles got lost..." In this quote, the repetition of the phrase "if Miles got lost" is used to emphasize how the collective human experience of fear shared by the two brothers has led to much of Harry's sense of security lying in the knowledge of Miles's well-being. It is clear that the brothers rely on each other to the point of codependency and take on roles of protector and child that give both a sense of collective security as a result of their individual human experience of facing fear. In essence, Past the Shallows uses setting, metaphor, and personification to show us how the human experience of fear can result in the development of qualities and emotions such as codependency and escapism, while also highlighting a paradox about the nature of family. Lord of the Flies by William Golding uses setting, metaphor, and symbolism to also represent the collective human experience of fear, and explores the differing qualities and emotions of escapism in nature and the projection of fear, which can result in the emotion of anger. In Lord of the Flies, the source of the collective human experience of fear for the boys is the possibility of being trapped on the islands without any authority. Although this is discussed early in the novel, it eventually manifests itself as a fear of the Beast, a creature made up by one of the younger boys, which turns out to be only a projection of the boy's fear. "There isn't no beast not with claws. I know that there isn't no fear either," Piggy paused. "Unless," Ralph moved restlessly. "Unless what?" "Unless we get frightened of people." This quote is one of the first to address the human experience of fear that the boys on the island are going through, and uses the voice of Piggy to give insight that the Beast is not a simple creature, but is a representation of the boys' fear of each other, which is increasing with each day on the island. To the rules, "We're strong, we hunt. If there's a beast, we'll hunt it down. We'll close in and beat and beat and beat." In this second quote, we see more closely the effects of the human experience of fear on the characters and the development of the emotion of anger when fears are projected. Repetition is used in "and beat and beat and beat" to emphasize the violent outcome of Jack's strategy to combat the Beast, which is once again only a psychological symbol of his fears. In essence, projection as a reaction to the human experience of fear causes the emotion of anger. Lastly, this quote, "The mask was a thing on its own, behind which Jack hid, liberated from shame and self-consciousness," displays how escapism into nature is explored in the book, and "kill the beast, cut his throat, spill his blood, do him in" is a quote chanted by the boys before they kill Roger, a clear example of the aggression that has stemmed from their human experience of fear. In conclusion, the individual and collective human experiences of fear can lead to the development of differing qualities and emotions that are explored in the text of Past the Shallows by Fievel Parrott and The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Past the Shallows explores how the collective human experience of fear can give rise to the qualities and emotions of codependency and escapism, particularly into the natural world, and does this through the use of motifs such as the ocean, metaphors, and the personification of nature. The Lord of the Flies is similar in that it also explores escapism into nature, but explores how it can bring out a darker, more savage side in people. It also explores how the human experience of fear could lead to the projection of fear and the emotion of anger, which resulted in many of the horrible acts during the book, such as the murder of Roger, and managed to do this through symbolism, metaphor, and other literary techniques.